Ooh. Right. Just looking online real quick. Can everyone hear me? Just a thumbs up from anyone online. Make sure we're getting through. Angel's there. She says she can hear us. Thank you, Angel. All right. Well, good morning. And my video on my I'll work on that as we get going. Not sure what's happening with my camera, but you can hear me, so we'll get started. Welcome to the March meeting of the El Dorado County Fire Safe Council. A little change up in the room today. It's set up a little differently when we got here, so we'll just roll with that. Our flag is in the front. So with that, I'd like us to stand and recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You be seated. Good morning, Jessica. You made it. All right. So I guess my reminder, Carrie's working her way around the room. We're sending the sign up sheet for board members. So make sure that if you're a board member, you get on that sheet. And she's also looking online, or she will look online to confirm who's with us so that we make sure we capture everyone who's here. Item number 4 is approval of the agenda. Everybody should have received a copy of that in the board packet. For today's meeting, any changes, additions, deletions, or comments relative to today's agenda? Looking around the room, not seeing any, not hearing any. Angel says no. Thank you, Angel. So all those in favor of approving the agenda signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Right, agenda passed as presented. Item 5, meeting minutes from the February 21st meeting. Any comments, additions, deletions, edits to the minutes from the February meeting? Okay, seeing none in the room, seeing none online. All those in favor of approving the minutes from the February meeting signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Great, thank you. Minutes approved as presented. Item 6, new business. This is a continuation of a discussion that we daylighted, I think, two meetings ago, and have kind of been bringing that forward. We got a little bit more formal with it in your board packet. I included a copy of a document that Paul Penn put together, and it's titled, Where Do We Go From Here? Paul has agreed to step up and lead sort of for lack of a better, a futuring committee, basically, as we talked about, as we continue to grow and things, the landscape changes and our engagement in wildland fire preparedness and mitigation and prevention and education and outreach and all the things that we do as councils and associate councils. Obviously, we're growing and we're engaging a lot across the western slope of the county. And so we felt this was a good opportunity to put together a small task group, very short duration task group to come back with some thoughts and ideas to bring back to the rest of us about what we think the organization should look like in the future in terms of how we operate, membership, all of those things. And the e-board didn't think this was something they should just do. It's really something that's a broader discussion from the greater membership. So a number of folks have already stepped up and reached out to Paul. Paul couldn't be here today, not because he's working, because he's, I think, hitting every ski resort in Western United States. So at last count, I think he said it was like 7 or 8, but so yeah, don't feel, this is the smallest violin play. So no, he's having a good time, but he has been committing to this as he's been on the road. And I know he reached out to the folks that had already committed to let him know that he's got them on board, and he will circle back. So you can read the document that Paul presented. If any of you have thoughts, please reach out to Paul relative to that. But I know, again, he's anticipating getting that group when he's back together and starting to walk through some thoughts and ideas and doing some research. So his idea, again, is to hopefully be back to the broader group of us here and wrap this up by May or June. So this isn't really a long lived process, just wants to get in and get some things done with the group. So any questions on that? Chris?
I thought it was very thorough. There's humor in there,
It is Paul.
little subtle pieces of humor. But I thought you've spoken about this over the last, let's say, 6 months, that you believe, just by the way we're operating, that there needs to be some changes, at least proposed, for us to decide on. So I just wanted to comment. Chris Payne, Patterson Ranch Fire Safety Council.
No, thank you, Chris. Spot on. That's exactly the thought process. Any other thoughts? So more to come. Obviously, Paul will be and the group will circle back with us and keep us up to date on where we're at with that. Old business, item 7, which is rapidly going to become new business here over the next year, is the Community Wildfire Protection Plan. And so I asked Tom Meyer from the Office of Wildfire Preparedness and Resilience to give us an update on what's happening there. Tom.
Good morning, everybody. I don't have a podium this time.
Yeah, just a little disheveled, sorry.
The contract in place yet. That said, it's scheduled to go to our Board of Supervisors to approve on April 2nd. So coming up pretty quickly. After that, we have a tentative hold date with the consultant, Judson Hughes, to have a kickoff meeting with the CWPP coordination or working group. And Ken and I have worked the last couple of weeks to identify members of working groups. CAL FIRE, a representative to cover both Fire Chiefs Association and fire prevention officers. OES and also the Tahoe Fire and Fuel Scheme. So pretty good representation of stakeholders. And then as we get more into the process, we will continue to engage other areas. So for the kickoff meeting, looking to, since there were some delays with the project, finalize that project schedule and deliverables based on the new start date. And then really sit down with the consultant and develop our plan and schedule for the public meetings and engagement and their strategy for that. And selecting meeting dates and locations, because as they get through the first couple of tasks, we'll need to have those in place and get that process started quickly. And again, initial project tasks for the CWPP. After the kickoff meeting, they'll start reviewing existing information and plans and gathering data. And those plans again include the Tahoe Basin CWPP that's nearing completion and should be finalized in the coming months. The CAL FIRE unit plan, the county safety elements update, and the local hazard mitigation plan update that's in the process right now. After that, they'll dive into conducting their hazard and risk analysis, and then putting together community mapping based on those studies. And then that's really when we jump into those community workshops. More to come on that after we have our kickoff meeting. Right now it's scheduled to occur prior to the next Fire Safety Council meeting. So we'll have more to share with that.
And a quick comment to add from me for the group. So the contract with the vendor has a set number of public outreach meetings and workshops scheduled around the West Slope. But I think this is such an important opportunity and critical plan for fire safe councils in particular, which are really sort of the cornerstone of the work that's going on in these plans, is that I think we need to, as as fire safe councils, really organize ourselves so that we take advantage of every one of these opportunities. And that may mean that we do some meetings additional meetings off to the side where we organize and try to gather information and data so we can be as efficient as possible and ensure that we're bringing forward our not so much concerns, but our needs, right? And we want to make sure that every voice is heard that needs to be heard in the process. And so I think we probably have some extra work maybe to do on our part as councils and associate councils to really make sure we've got our information gathered up and brought forward. And I think we'll hear from the vendor after this kickoff meeting, what process we can all use to make sure we get that done. So I encourage everybody to put this on high on your radar because this is our opportunity to get what we need, into this plan update. So any questions for Tom? Tamara, can we pass Tamara that microphone?
Just sort of add to that, as I'm looking at grant opportunities and questions, every single grant is asking if the project that we're applying for is in the CWP. So you want to make sure that we participate and that the things that we're wanting to happen in the community end up in the plan, or may not even be able to get funding for it in the future. It's becoming more.
No, and to that, to really adding on to Tamara's point, we were just working with the Forest Service last week. They were reaching out looking for CWPPs and where they can access those, and there's really nothing in a good digital format yet. We've got plans, we've got them posted online, and we point folks to where the existing documents are, but it came very clear to us that as the forest was working on championing getting funds for wildland urban interface funding on behalf of all of us, they needed that information to be able to share back with region office in Washington, D.C. So that really putting that fine point on Tamara's comment, it's going to be really important that we have all of this information and we get it into the plan, and everything is in a much more digital world now. So when they want information, the GIS people are the ones talking to each other. That's where this started. It was the Forest Service GIS folks reaching out to the county GIS folks. So again, very important that we make sure we get what we want in there. But what's going to be helpful here is this is a dynamic process. So when the planning process is done, the plan just doesn't go on a shelf and we wait another 5 years. The whole idea about bringing this forward is that we have a process to update elements, the working parts of the plan, the projects, all of those things on an annual basis or whatever that frequency is, without having to take it to the Board of Supervisors or without having to go back to a formal process, because things change. We have fires, we have changes in priorities, things happen. And so we want to make sure our plan is responsive to that and brings in, and we have other planning efforts that happen that can update this plan with more information. So we want a process that allows us to continue to bring that in over time. So that's really going to be the key, to this new process. So, Alice.
2 questions. One, I'm really happy to hear what you're saying about the fire safety folks being involved early. So that will even be at the risk analysis stage.
Yeah, basically there are 2 primary kickoff meetings that are scheduled. One is the initial kickoff meeting with the steering committee, and Tamara was representing the fire safe councils on the steering committee, but they'll be bringing early on a discussion both to the fire safe council specifically and to the fire chiefs association, with the idea of laying out the process from the beginning. And yes, the first part of this will be doing a hazard and risk assessment and to be gathering all that data. So the steering committee or the working group's job is to make sure that we're steering everybody literally out to where all the data sets are, what that appropriate pieces are. And so early on, yes, there will be an opportunity to understand where this is at in the flow. And so, and understand where the hazard risk assessment is going. And then after that, when there's information out there and data that will be coming out to these public workshops, and that's another opportunity to say, hey, we're missing something. So there will be a number of checks and balances throughout this basically 12-month process to get things in there.
Are they going to be looking at, I know you said they're not digitalized, but the consultant will also be looking at all those old CWPs and the 3-year action plan through firewalls?
They're gonna look at everything that's available to them. Right now, the action plans aren't available to anybody. NFPA does not allow those to be shared. Now, if an individual Firewise community wants to share that out, that's up to them. And absolutely, I think all of that kind of information is helpful. The beginning point of this is what Tom said. It's all these, yes, it's absolutely, we're building off of the existing CWPP. We want to make sure we're looking at whatever else is out there, all these other planning documents. As Tom mentioned, there's a lot of planning documents out there and initiatives out there right now. And this is very plugged into making sure they're reaching out and grabbing any and all of that. And I think part of the public process is to, okay, what are we missing? What are they missing so they can go get it? Chris.
Oh, got it. I think it's important to recognize, it goes to the earlier item, which we're talking about what the future holds, that the CWPP has evolved from the original one. Does anybody know what year the first CWPP county came out?
Steve may remember, but it was in the mid-teens, I think.
Yeah. Earlier in this decade. So anyway, now we got the Whopper. We got Kim. We have others who are participating with their own interests. So my question then comes down to what's this new CWPP gonna contain with the new stakeholders, the new participants, the steering committee? So can you just kind of describe the elements that you see, at least today, recognizing that things may change? That what are the elements on this new CWPP that you think are important and may be a deviation from prior?
Right. And I don't want it, and yes, and without getting into a lot of detail, because that's what's going to come out, at one of the focused meetings that they'll be bringing to us. But in a nutshell, it's obviously all of the things that we've been working on. It's when we coordinate, first of all, hazard and risk assessment. We want to ensure we've filled in the gaps across the western slope that didn't have a previous CWPP. There isn't, where we've got active fire safe councils and Firewise communities, there's a lot of work going on. In other places, there isn't. And these areas, well, I recognize that, okay, there's not an active community. Let's work on the folks that are active. Well, at the same time, these places that aren't active do pose a risk to infrastructure, to other parts of the county. So the county sort of has this collective role of looking at all of the West Slope and doing a hazard and risk assessment as part of this process. So that's a piece that wasn't there before, sort of filling in the gaps where we didn't have active participation. Two, it's the original CWPPs, and not just ours, but others, weren't really focusing so much on home hardening and defensible space and public outreach. There was a lot of effort on the traditional hazardous fuels reduction kinds of projects, roadside vegetation clearance, fuel breaks, all of those things. Those are all are certainly key parts of this. We're really going to rely on CAL FIRE's Unit Fire Plan, the Forest Service, where they're bringing planning documents to the table, all of those things to help populate that part and sort of help us better understand what they're seeing as strategic value and where to put some of these strategic sort of hazardous fuels reduction projects. But this will really focus on, then again, bringing into this whole new world we're into of ignition resistant construction and the built environment and how all of that interplays. We'll be working really very closely with the sheriff's office with evacuations and how we, plan projects around, the evacuation planning and those sorts of elements and all of that. So there's a lot of pieces in the built environment that we're bringing in, education and outreach. We are defensible space collective dispensable space program that we have here in the county, where it's not just, laws and ordinances, but it's really about this shared responsibility and program of training fire safe council members to do evaluations. All of that's going to be kind of rolled up as part of this. The last piece of this is really what I mentioned. What's different is it's an online, it's more of a storyboard document. Yes, we'll have a 400-page document that will go through all the detail, But the real meat and potatoes of this is going to be the build out. They will be leaving, the vendor will be leaving us with a very functional web page that will be providing a real-time storyboard. And if you look at Santa Clara County Fire Safe Council or Fire Safe Marin, a number of the councils and areas are trending towards these storyboards that really graphically and pictorially describe for communities the work that's being done with maps and easy to understand sort of updates on projects. So it's really a much more graphic presentation of what we're doing in our communities versus just a document.
Just a follow-up. That was perfect.
Wow, write that down. Chris said it was perfect.
Yeah, I don't say that. It's a perfect answer to a tough question. The second part would be, what does the emphasis areas that's coming out of OWAPR, how does that fit into the overall CWPP? Because it seems like there's an independence from that office that essentially identifies these emphasis areas. And there's usually one or two that are being focused on that are usually high risk, always high risk areas. So do you see the emphasis areas being part of the CWPP, at least to a portion or an element of it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess that's the point here is when we're talking about defensible space overall, that's one facet of rolling up this overall program into our CWP. Where are we focusing our inspections, our assessments, all of that? How are we evaluating the higher risk areas in our communities so we can start targeting some of these efforts? And I'm stealing other people's thunder here, but what the county and CAL FIRE and the fire districts are doing this year is they put together those county emphasis areas and CAL FIRE's defensible space inspection areas. They've done that in a collaborative way to where they're all in a room looking at the maps. They're looking at the communities that were identified by the State Board of Forestry and Fire Protection as one way in, one way out, and we have 99 of them in El Dorado County. They're looking at all of those and saying, hey, we know these have a level of risk. And so they're utilizing all of those sort of tools to set priorities for where, to engage with these inspections in a coordinated way. So CAL FIRE isn't inspecting the same place that the county or the El Dorado County Fire District is. They're all doing it together. But yes, concept is for this process to roll up under sort of this umbrella. So it's all programs that are leading, all the tools in the toolbox are leading towards reducing our wildfire threat. So David, before I get to you, I want to go to Angel online. She's had her hand up for a few minutes. Her virtual hand, I should say.
Hello, everyone.
Good morning.
I want to go back to Ken when you were first speaking about organizing ourselves. If the consultant or whoever has some sort of a checklist or a question and answer sheet, I'm happy to organize my community and get more information. I just need to know what to ask.
Nope, you're spot on with that question, Angel. I have the same questions, and I think that was going to be sort of our job when we sit down with the consultant, particularly at the kickoff meeting, is to ask just that. We've been articulating with them from the beginning. We've got this entire community base out there that we need to engage, and what information do we need to gather from the group to, one, make this efficient, and two, to make sure we're not missing anything. So yes, we will ask the questions and come back to that to everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. David.
Speaking about a stakeholder that might have another look, or maybe the overall water agency. I often think that water and soil are foundational to what we're trying to do with the sentence with the ground. So was EDWA going to be part of it, or SMUD REID?
Again, part of the kickoff meeting is to start developing the broad list of stakeholders to engage in this process. And fortunately, we're not charting new ground with the work that's been done this last year by the planning department as they update the safety element. And now the work that the sheriff's office is doing with updating the multi-jurisdiction hazard mitigation plan. They've been building some pretty significant stakeholder and outreach lists, and also been garnering fairly significant participation by those folks. And specifically to your point, absolutely, the water agency has been at the table and will absolutely be invited to participate. Obviously, SMUD's been engaged with us from the beginning, but many others. And we've got the El Dorado National Forest is committed to having a member on the steering committees. So we've got a lot of folks that will be on. There's that core group on the working group steering committee, but then there's a much broader level of stakeholder engagement that's going to be key to this. And anybody who is willing to roll up their sleeves and come to the table and be part of the process and has a stake here is a stakeholder. And I think part of this is identifying who we're missing and getting them on the list.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, any other questions for Tom or me relative to the CWPP?
You touched on this with Santa Clara Fire Safe Council and then Fire Safe Marin County. I just encourage you to go take a look at their websites for the project and their CWPP. These are ones that stood out to us as we were developing the scope for the project. And kind of what we'd like to see is the blueprint for our plan. So just encourage you to go take a look at those and get an idea of the road we're looking to go down with this one. Thank you.
Yes, person. This is the chart for our online stuff from CWPP in 2011, and county fire company part of that. I don't know if they had their own or they had one with us, but they will share maps and so on that we've used and posted back.
No, thank you for that, Chuck. And I think that's what's going to be key. There's so much history in this room and across the county that have been engaged in this over the years. And I think that's what we're going to need to draw out during these workshops and during these discussions. What do we know that's out there that we don't have, we're missing? Because we need every bit of history and foundation as to where this is going to start. So absolutely, Chuck, thank you. Right, anything looks like we're good here, seeing nothing new online. So again, more to come here hopefully fairly soon. Thank you, Tom. Okay, as we dive into informational items number 8, I'm going to again try my hand at technology here, and we'll see how this goes. But under the chair's report, a quick bit of background. When we moved our office to Main Street in Placerville at the Nonprofit Center, the commitment by all of the nonprofits that are sharing space at the center was that we'd each try to help each other out with our expertise and offer some services to each other sort of as partners. And so Hugh's been sort of, imagine this, shocker, Hugh's been right at the table helping with technology there. And we've got a monitor similar to this that's on the wall in the meeting room there that we use regularly for committee meetings and e-board, et cetera. But we've also made it available for the other members of the nonprofit groups there at the center, and that's been very well received, and we're just a really good partner with our folks. Well, one of the other nonprofits in the center is Justin Taylor Inside and Out Photography, and Justin's done work a lot here in the county. He's done some work for County Fire. He does work for the public access television, and he reached out immediately to us. He has an office just 2 doors down, and said, "Hey, I'd like to give you an opportunity. I really like your mission, and I would like to help you put together maybe a couple of short videos just to show you the skill sets that we have here, but also would like to maybe give back to your mission and see if there's opportunities long term to partner on these things." And so Janet, Hugh, and I we sat down with Justin a few weeks back, kind of walked through our idea of what maybe some short video vignettes might look like, just as sort of teasers to think about down the road. What kinds of things would we want to be doing as a Fire Safe Council to talk about what we do and what we're doing with our partners and get the public engaged and all of that. So we sat down, and just this week, Justin finished 3 short, less than 60-second videos that I'd like to share with you if I can make the technology work here, because it's always a challenge for me. Okay, so basically these were sort of recruitment videos for the Fire Safe Council. We want to talk about, why become a Fire Safe Council? How do I engage? What's the value in doing that? And these were designed for the idea being attach it to a website, attach it to, put it out as part of social media. Something what we're also seeing now is that people are embedding videos actually in their email address when they send that out. So you can, want to know something more about the company or the organization that's emailing you, you can just look at the short video they have. So lots of kind of new whiz bang things in the landscape. So with that, let me roll this first one. Looks like we can see.
A number of large and devastating wildfires. Here, this includes both underwater and Mosquito fires, both of which caused significant evacuations, damage destroyed new homes, and damaged resources throughout the county. Residents across El Dorado County are recognizing it's our responsibility as community members to engage and help be part of the solution and make El Dorado County more resilient to wildfire. Under the umbrella of the El Dorado County Fire Safe Council, there are multiple associate fire safe councils, which are grassroots community-led councils that are focusing on educating community members, mitigate the impact of wildfire, and engage their communities more and help them become a fire resilient enterprise. I'm asking each and every person who lives in El Dorado County to engage, sign up now to be a member of the El Dorado County Fire Safe Council or one of the other associate fire safe councils. Contact the El Dorado County Fire Safe Council through our website or phone number.
Just so you know, I was not planning on being spokesperson, but nobody wanted to do it. Right?
Hey, Universal Studios is already contacted.
I know it's. Let me just 2 more quick ones here. Let me get back in here and grab those real quick for us. But it looks like I've again touched the wrong buttons. Hang on.
There you go, remember work, but receiving my expectations.
Oh yeah, thanks, David. I got him here. Well,
David's always available for.
I know we're gonna put him on.
You guys can laugh, but we're gonna be grabbing something.
Yeah, this is just the teaser here, gang. We're gonna get you all going. Okay.
Why should we join a local state council, knowing it takes time and commitment? Well, there are a number of reasons. Free defensible space inspections around your home, so you understand what you need to do to protect your home. Community fundraising efforts, bring critical fire prevention money to your community. Insurance discounts, networking with other community members around your local area. Access to experts, CAL FIRE, local fire districts, the insurance industry, and animal services. Green waste disposal day to help community members dispose of material generated during a defensible phase clearance around their home. If we don't step up and volunteer to be part of these fire safe councils now, we will not be able to get this critical work done in our communities. Join one today. Contact the El Dorado County Fire Safe Council for more information.
Well, I like that one.
Well, and so recognize the challenge is you can only get so much in 50 seconds, and so it's not necessarily perfect. Sometimes we use inspect, but the whole idea we're trying to grab folks, right? And we say insurance discounts. We don't know where you're going to get them, but the whole idea is we're grabbing them with thoughts, and then we're going to bring them in and engage them and educate. So again,
And we'll tell them the truth.
yeah, we'll tell them the truth. That's. Well, I think that's what. Yeah, we've got one more meeting with Justin. He's going to walk us through how best to use them. There's 2 different formats. There's what's a large format that we're looking at right now that's designed for websites and for YouTube and to be used in that format. And there's a second format that's designed, it's oriented differently, that allows you to post it, on the social media platform. So, yes.
Do you have them now that we show at our FSC board meetings?
Hopefully will within the next week. Once we confirm with Justin that we don't need to make any other adjustments, we're going to make them available to everybody. So it's just not quite, we wanted to give you this sort of as the preview so that you knew, what Hugh was up to, so that we. All right, one last one here real quick and we'll.
I'm showing a little fire safe house. People of the county, city council, listen to the associate councils throughout. You know, in your area, and see, you start one, you need to identify a leader, maybe that's you, to lead the effort. Identify your mission, what's gonna be your responsibility, what are your goals? Gather that core group, it's just 3 to 5 people to run the organization. Decide your boundaries. Engage with your local fire district and other organizations, gather that grassroots support. Advertise, let your community know what you're doing and bring them in to participate. At the end of the day, if we all don't step up to participate and join our fire safe councils and engage, we are not going to have the wildfire resilient El Dorado County that we need. Contact the El Dorado County Fire Safe Council today for more information on fire safe councils.
So there you go, that's what we did.
It's short, and you only have a few seconds to get some of these.
Right. And they kept pounding that, we've been talking about that a lot and they kept pounding that into our heads. So I guess we've talked to the county about this as well. Definitely want to move forward with, they're interested in videos. They certainly put some in the, like, for example, there's a BLM grant that's we're waiting for money to come to the county, but there's funds that were asked for, I believe, in there for videos. We've got several opportunities for the county to help start funding some of these. We've put in Tamara as part of that consolidated grant for all of, the fires, the associate councils that are going to the state council. We've put money in there for the Fire Safe Council to produce future videos. This was a freebie from Justin to sort of wet our whistle and sort of see if this is the direction we want to go. And then I think it's wide open from here. I think we really want to figure out what that subject matter is, what's the material. We really want to tell our story. I mean, we're doing some pretty cool, super unique things in El Dorado County as this group collectively that we really want people to see. And this is one way to do that. So let's go back here first. And Tamara, did you have a okay.
The Fire Safe Council considered talking to Logic to get some of the information that they're putting out for fire training and resilience. I went to the weekend up there this last weekend. And they put on a really good presentation. It's 2 days that are also associated with fire suppression and foods.
We haven't reached out to them specifically, but I think the sky's the limit as long as I think staying within what our mission is and how we cross over and partner with others. Absolutely.
I think from the standpoint of trying to suppress fire and do that theory, what they were showing and how to do it will take a lot of fear out of the homeowner minds and giving somebody prescribed bremsnut.
I think you're spot on. I think that where we're partnering with and we're trying to tell the whole story, every tool in the toolbox that we as this large set of stakeholders are doing in El Dorado County, and obviously prescribed fire and all of that are a big component of that. So I think over time we should be looking at a big list of things to be working on for our videos, and I think we're welcoming all of those ideas and thoughts. We're just sort of putting this out there just to kind of wet our whistle. Go ahead, Alice.
I have basic just for all these years, always wondered. I thought that anybody who lived within our boundary was part of our fire safe council, but you're saying no, people have to actually join, be a member?
Well, I think it's the board members are, when we say join, it's participating, right? But but fire safe councils have directors. They have people sign up as volunteers. That's all joining to be part of the, depending on the organizational structure. Yeah.
Well, look, I want everybody to understand, there is no script for this. Ken sat on a stool, the guy turned the camera on, and that's what we got.
Well, but I also,
No, I didn't.
well, but I will also point, we've had a slide, PowerPoint presentation has been attached to our website since I've been here. And that's where I started. I went to the State Fire Safe Council that has guidelines on how to start a fire safe council. And I looked at our own slideshow that we are having available to folks. So all the information was drawn from there, just, yeah, sort of in my own words. I think that what's really, for me personally, what's spurring this on is we're all struggling in our communities to get folks to step up and engage. And I would say, Alice, just because you live in a fire safe council area doesn't mean you're a member of that fire safe. You're not a member of a fire safe council unless you're rolling up your sleeves and you're doing something. And that does, and that means a lot of different things to people and can be anything, but we're really trying to get people to step up and help carry the load and participate, to whatever skill set and expertise and time they have. Go ahead, Chris, then we'll go back here.
Just quickly, Justin is in a business of communication. These guys are just 2 doors down in the same hallway where his office is. In his office, he has 2 rooms. Essentially, he has a little studio area. He's got the area where he can do all his work and mix and change and cut things out in order to get down to that timeline. He can go out in the field with his handheld camera and he can video issues that we might have within your community area. Talk to them, find out if it's going to be within your budget, but certainly take advantage of this. And they realize now how great it is having him just down the hall.
Yep, no, exactly right. Thank you, Chris. Good.
I was shortly discussing with Dorothy during sign up question, and even if we got our fire safe council area members information, and at least gives them, it's not like a sign up, but it gives a way for the insurance company to recognize that they're at least participating and know about fire safe council. So I guess I could consider it a sign up.
I would say anything that puts that somehow we are engaging people. But bottom line, yes, I think that's signing up for something certainly engages you because now you're on a list and we can continue to talk to you. It's really volunteers. We're all going to commit whatever time and capacity that we have. But a fire safe council is only as good as the folks that are stepping up to roll up their sleeves and do the work. And again, this was just one, people don't know about them. So it's another opportunity to reach people to talk about it. 2, it's, hey, maybe you're interested. We've had a lot of interest in starting fire safe councils. If you're interested, here's at least the foot in the door for how to do that and get started. So I think that was really, again, none of this is perfect, but we've got to start, tooting our horn and getting our information out there. And this is just one venue to do that. So more to come there. Well, and again, Angel is all over it today. She says you can never have too many peeps involved. So I agree with her. So thank you for that. Okay, so next up, that's all I have for the chair's report. I'm going to turn it to you, the vice chair.
Okay, couple things. Many of you know you were here on February the 27th when we did our first field maps training. We had 13 folks here from CAL FIRE, some of their upper echelon, as well as people that run that program. We were the foster child of the first kickoff of that. Those of you that participated, I want to thank you for that. And I would encourage you, please, the weather, well, I think next week might not be the best week, but following that, the weather's going to be changing again. I encourage you to get out and start doing your assessments. And I'm hoping Janet doesn't remind me, I have 12 of them on a list to do that I haven't done yet. But get out, get those done, and put them in your field maps and get those reported in. And also, once you do those, please don't forget to report those to Carrie so we can keep track of that. That data is going to become important, the number especially, and where they were, as we start working with the county fire, with CAL FIRE, as we all start working those areas and try to cover as much of the county as we can. We have another defensible space class coming up, April the 19th and 20th. Everybody should have been signed up now. It'll be here again. And I'm looking forward to that. I have a list of everyone that signed up. I'll be sending an email out here in the not too distant future, just to let everybody know, we're moving forward with that. I have information I'll send out in that email. So that's coming up on the 19th and the 20th. If you have not signed up, I didn't bring the list today because I already have over 30 people signed up. That doesn't mean that I won't take, somebody else that hasn't gotten one. We want to try to get, what I'm really looking for and what I really hope is to get at least one or two, primarily two assessors in every fire safe council. That way, at least we know every fire safe council area is covered. Sometimes we don't have them. And so a neighboring fire safe council obviously can go help their neighbors. So we want to start doing that. Then also, and I'll let Alice follow up on this a little bit when she gives her report. But after the meeting next month, at the end of the April meeting, remember we talked about we're going to start looking at little quarterly workshops. And so following next month's meeting, and Alice, correct me if I'm wrong, I think we decided that we'll take a break and come back at 1 o'clock. And we try to shoot for 2 hours from 1 to 3. And Alice and Kit are going to do a presentation, a workshop on defensible space, fire resistant plants, planting, landscape, that thing to the next level. In other words, we all assume everybody sitting out here already knows about defensible space. You already, you've been through the training multiple times. Okay, so now what's the next step? And Alice and Kit have been working on that, and they're going to be doing that after the next meeting. So not just you, if you have someone or know someone that might be interested in this, you can tell them they can accompany you to the meeting and sit through this meeting, or you can tell them show up here at 1 o'clock and be part of that. So that's coming up next month, and Alice will have more, I'm sure, to say about that. And then, just so you do know, there is, as you all know, there is a training education committee now that we put together for this group. We'll have another meeting tomorrow to finalize and finish up some stuff for our class on the 19th and 20th. And also to talk about, we're looking to put together, we've talked about this before, we're looking to put together a workshop for realtors and insurance folks. And that we already are working on that, but we haven't set a date yet because we want to wait and do that after the county adopts the new defensible space, the updated defensible space ordinance. So that's kind of what's going on there. Along with the rest of that, I just continue to go to the regular meetings that I go to. So that's it for me.
Thank you.
Any-
Sorry.
No question? Great.
Hey, I can use that. Sorry. All right, next up, Secretary's report. Karen.
I don't have a whole lot to say, just wanted to give a little bit of a heads up that our Fire Safe Council renewals will be coming up and due in June. So probably sometime towards the end of April, I'll be sending out to all of the Fire Safe Council chairpersons or contact persons their forms for renewals to submit to us. We need to do it every year, and that's also what we base our getting our insurance getting that information to the insurance company on. So just a heads up, sometime in probably late April, we'll be sending those out and expecting them back by the first part of June sometime. So just a heads up. Any questions? Sure.
In the past, it's been, I believe, Form 1, 2, and 12. Is it still the 3 forms or is
It's still the 3 forms.
okay? It's very simple. Once you-
Yeah, and I send them out with when I send out the information to renew, I send out those forms with you as well, and then you just return them to me and we get everybody renewed in June, so. Yeah, and if you have any questions, you can always reach out to me. We'll be, just wanted to give you a heads up, just to look for those in April. Thank you.
We have Alice with a question.
One more question here.
Sure.
So, I think since the last, whatever you call it, or the associate becoming it again, there's been that change where now, Fire Safe Council is required to do 4 meetings and have elections, I think, right? Is that in that at all, or is that just gonna be used when there's a program?
That's it. That also that's in our bylaw, that's in the updated bylaws. So I mean, you can always review those if you guys want me to put a little note in there, just reminding them that.
So I guess official is asking them early before meeting.
Yeah, and also, I know that in the past, that some of the associated councils don't do their own elections until June or July or some other time in the year. And that's okay, when you're renewing, it's what you have at that point. And then as you have your elections, you just notify us of the changes and we make the changes on the contact list, so. And again, you should reach out to me anytime or if there's any questions.
Thank you, Karen. No, appreciate that. And next up, you can share your microphone with Janet right there. Turn it to the left. Janet, Treasurer's Report. Thank you.
Morning, everybody. The treasurer's reports were submitted out. I just wanted to just briefly touch upon in case anybody has any concerns about the large negative balances that are sitting out in our remaining cash for some of these grants. Those have all been billed to CAL FIRE, and in fact, 180,000 of that has already come back into us, into our treasury. So it is a timing issue when we get the report versus when I get the reimbursements from CAL FIRE. But I thought maybe we should just have that discussion in case anybody did have a concern with that. No concern from David though.
Oh, sure.
Oh, sure.
These grants, we've been waiting forever.
So David's question, without a microphone, was if we had an estimated time for receipt of grants that we've been waiting for. CAL FIRE checks, as I mentioned, I received the hazard tree and the chipping. The one outstanding grant that we're waiting for is the California Fire Safe Council, for which we have spent almost $60,000. We do not have a time frame yet. We are at the point, I think, that I'm just going to submit them an invoice and see if they'll pay it. Because we don't have, holding this funds for them is impacting our treasury. So I'm going to, I had talked with Ken this morning and Tamara previously that I think I'm going to put together an invoice, send it to them and see if we can get them to at least pay that off until they get to the point that they can actually give us the remainder of the grant. The concern particularly with that grant is that, and maybe Tamara can talk about it if you have more questions, is that grant only goes through the end of September.
Oh,
So we are almost
December. Yeah.
or is it December?
Yeah.
So we're quite a ways into the grant term and haven't received any funding for that yet. So it was a $500,000 grant. Whether we can spend it all through the remainder of the calendar year is unknown, although we do have a lot of people waiting for defensible space. But so that is what is holding up our defensible space program is the receipt of funds for that grant. We also have put out an offer, an accepted offer to our bookkeeper. We are in the process of putting together a contract with her. Her name is Linda Parks and she's out of Rescue. She will once we have a signed contract with her, I will work to transfer files from our current bookkeeping service at Pat Turner's office to Linda, and there will be a month or so overlap while we make sure that everything works smoothly as we cross those files across. I did have a conversation with our person at Pat Turner's office. They will remain our tax preparer because I like that good separation of duties. So they will remain our tax person. Linda will take over our bookkeeping and the invoicing. I will continue to be the primary point of contact. We're not going to have people go directly to her because she'll just send them back to me. So I am still the treasurer position will still be the primary point of contact for submitting invoices, questions, banking, all of that stuff will still come in to this position. And then what needs to go to Linda will go to Linda. Any other questions on the treasurer's report?
Thanks for billing them.
You're welcome, David.
Right, I don't see any questions online or in the room. So this is a board action item. If there are no further comments or questions on the treasurer's report as presented by Janet, put it to the vote. All those in favor of approving the treasurer's report signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay, treasurer's report approved as presented. Thank you again, Janet, as always. So it's a busy time of year for our partners, for lots of reasons with training and gearing up for fire season and lots of other things going on. So I don't see anyone from BLM with us today. And again, I know they're going through some staffing changes and recruitment. So hopefully we'll have some folks on board for us later in the year. Megan Sheline did reach out from CAL FIRE. They're all committed to training and other projects this week, so they don't have anyone available, but they'll be back with us next month. So with that, I'll turn it over to Tom Meyer for the Office of Wildfire Preparedness and Resilience update.
Thank you, Ken. So for OWAPers, first is the Earth Creek project.
Oh, yeah.
Good mix it.
EMC planning. To conduct the environmental and historic preservation clearance, which is the first step in getting underway with this project. Fortunately for us, they're also the consultant that was selected for Tuolumne County to do their CWMP project. So already well versed in the process. And there are no issue parcel that's for Tuolumne County engineering finalization and approval by FEMA. So they'll be able to jump into a project and hit the ground running. So with that, we're working to finalize the scope of work and negotiate that contract. We're hoping for a tentative start date in May, pending timelines with getting the contract to our board to approve. And then in our office, we've really started to dive into working out the plan as far as next steps go once that no issue parcel list is finalized and cleared. The consultant plans to submit those or that list in batches to FEMA rather than waiting until it's all completed. So as soon as we have batches approved, then we can move on to completing assessments. There's still a lot of work to do on our end, gearing up for phase 2 of the project. So those defensible phase assessments and hardening assessments, getting a right of entry agreement in place, tri-party agreements with their contractor, and then figuring out the bid process and getting that started to develop our list of contractors to do the work. And then really that homeowner engagement application process. So that's all stuff that we're starting to dive into now. More to come on that in future meetings. This will be a big project for us. I'm excited to finally be making some progress on it. CEAs, the county emphasis areas. So the last workshop for this round was on March 5th, and that was for the Allendale area. Pretty well attended, and inspections for that area start in April and will continue through May. And that's with the El Dorado Hills Fire District conducting those inspections. As Ken mentioned, we have worked with CAL FIRE to identify our joint inspection areas for the upcoming year. CAL FIRE is getting started with theirs. They've identified 10 areas throughout the county, and the county has 6 county emphasis areas. And as Ken mentioned, one of the main focuses when we were sitting down looking at the map, strategically picking areas, was looking at some of those high risk areas and the one way in, one way out communities. So that was a huge point of emphasis. We will also be sending out joint messaging, so between CAL FIRE and OWAPR. Really putting together a thorough informational postcard that will go out to residents within all of these areas, informing them what the inspections are, the purpose of them, and emphasizing that this is a collaborative effort. And then directing them back to our website, which will be updated very shortly, with more information on defensible space, public workshops, that kind of information. And then I mentioned this at the last meeting, but just wanted to bring it up again. As soon as we get the defensible space ordinance approved, CAL FIRE is also going to be inspecting the properties in line with our county's code. So not just PRP 4291. So that will be huge. Seems pretty minor, but it's just that consistency. So we're looking forward to that. And they're not here, but big thank you to CAL FIRE for that. So let's bring me to the defensible space ordinance update. We recently, last week was our last one, but we conducted 3 public workshops to go over so it was a very similar presentation that was given to the board back in December, but explaining the background of the ordinance update, what the changes were, and then diving into what defensible space is and isn't. And then open that up to really an informal Q&A session with those that attended in person and online. So the first one was back in February, and that was up in Myers. We had about 30 people join, both in person and online, of the total. For Cameron Park, it was 150, so really great turnout for that one. Ran much longer than we anticipated, and we actually got picked out by the CSD. This exceeded time limits. And then last week was the last one up in Garden Valley. Had about 15 people combined in person and online. So next steps with that, we put together a really thorough list of all the feedback that we've received during those workshops and that was submitted to our office, and have taken that to the defensible space working group. In the process right now of evaluating all that feedback and determining if additional changes are needed. And then once we work through that, any revisions that come out of it, we'll go ahead and schedule that first reading again with the board, but don't have a date yet on that. Hoping for potentially later in April, early May. So more to come on that again next month. Kind of talked about the BLM grant already, but we submitted the revised application with updated timelines and budget based on the schedule, award, and rollout of that grant. But real quick, just a breakdown of the proposed funding and programs requested. Defensible space inspections and clearance, about 7.7 million. And again, this is a $10 million grant with a 5-year term. And that category includes coordinated inspections between our office and local fire districts, approximately 30,000 properties throughout the county, and then defensible clearing of an additional 1,000 properties. There's also an item in there for implementation and maintenance of existing field breaks, and that's about $1.5 million. And then funding for Firewise communities and a coordinator position, a little over $750,000 for that one. So we're pending award notification from BLM. But next steps would be taking that award to the county board of supervisors to formally accept it, and then start working on contracts with some of the local fire agencies to hire staff and conduct those defensible space inspections. We also submitted a grant through the California Fire State Council for the coordinator position. That one is anticipated to be awarded mid-April. And the term of that one currently goes through the end of December 2024. We've requested funds to fund the coordinator position in the OWAPR office. And then an additional 25,000 to for public outreach and potential development of videos similar to ones that the Fire State Council put together. Again, with that one, need to take an item for our board of supervisors to accept the grant. So timing on that is kind of up in the air until we get that done. That's about all I've got. Today, is there any questions?
Chris?
Tom, for those people that haven't submitted their comments, they direct it to your office, right? Those
Yes.
comments?
The wildfire ready email,
Okay, it's called Wildfire.
ready at edcgov.us.
Last Monday, Captain Lucas Shepherd couldn't come to our taxpayers because of family issues. So we streamed that December 12th meeting. We took a snapshot of it. Took about 40 minutes. For those of you that haven't seen it, go to the Legistar for the county department or the county government, and you can go to the December 12th on the Legistar, and it's got videos, so you can stream that meeting.
To make it a little easier, we also have recorded videos from all of the public workshops plus that board meetings on the WAPR's website under the Defensible Space Ordinance update page. There's also a copy of this presentation. There's some additional materials on it. So
Thank you.
Great, not seeing any other, oh, Alice?
One is. It's the. These assessments. Smaller and detailed included. But what we're getting is quite a few residents, when we say, would you like a pre-assessment? They say, no, I've already had CAL FIRE from that, or I've already had CAL FIRE. So, but they're not getting the home hardening piece that we can offer. So it's a possible, excuse me, on those postcards. Somehow say, those are also available if they want a more detailed, longer volunteer assessment.
So we do have a section on the postcard referring those residents back to the Fire State Council for assistance programs. I don't believe we mentioned the assessment, but we did want to make it clear that the inspections are to the ordinance. Where the assessments, yes, it's touching on defensible base, but home hardening is a part of the ordinance. We can certainly look at the postcard and see if there's an opportunity to touch on that. But, yeah.
I think that's great. And then let's just get a real quick one.
Yeah.
At our recent big community meeting, we had an outdoor event, and we had 3 different people come up to us and say, hey, what's this new ordinance? And I can't believe we're all gonna be living in deserts for us to see. I know that's right. Yeah. It's really hard to get the right message out there. And one of them was even applicant from Park Thing. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I think we all, everybody in the room, need to be careful of the word clearance. Because when we say clearance, defensible space clearance, it means something to us that's not what it means to the public. When they hear clearance, they're thinking, you know, nudity. And so I think we just need to all think about the use of that word. Because I think that's really trying to get that message out there.
Nope, good words matter, right? And they mean different things to people. So obviously we want to think about that every time we're speaking with folks. So excellent. Well, Tom, thank you for the update. Again, obviously lots going on there. I appreciate that. Next up, Fire Chiefs Association, Chief Cordero.
Good one, fire chiefs. As Ken mentioned earlier, a lot of the network, perhaps a big part of your force with all party motion employees. While there is meetings and all those things, like for the fire chiefs. We're also working with the county and Cal Fire and Lake Fire agencies. The priorities across the county that help bolster those numbers of inspection alongside, I think, the assessment area. But other than that, I'll just give them a word or Saturday. Russell Fire Council, done all 9 to 2.
9 to 3.
9 to 3.
Apparently Tim's leading it too, but
Do I hear?
Training. Give us a little positive comment for some of the outdoor staff that displayed and things. We'll have a lot of fire agencies there, fire will be there. And it's great, great event and good as to the rest of the question. It's really good.
Thank you.
any questions for Chief Cordero? Okay, well, yes, definitely echo his comments. A lot of work going into planning and putting together that Placerville event, and definitely want to thank the fire chiefs, and particularly Chief Cordero's participation in the coordination group and other efforts going on. There's a lot happening in there at the table. Fire Prevention Officers Association, I had chatted with Lucas Shepard at the end of last week, but I don't, and confirmed he had the information, but I don't see Lucas today. So I don't think we have a report today, but again,
He's on.
yeah, copy that. He's not feeling well, but just he's been super engaged and in a lot of different aspects, and he's chairing the Defensible Space working group, which has been, all the things we've been talking about today that group's been working on, and he's been a big piece of that. So hopefully he's feeling better, and we'll see him next time. It looks like this morning we have Jacoby Waters from the El Dorado. Good morning, Jacoby.
Good morning. Sorry I've missed the last couple of meetings we had. We got some things going on here on the forest, but I just give you guys a quick update. We don't have a whole bunch. As you know, as CAL FIRE as well, we're bringing on a lot of our seasonal firefighters and trying to get ready for the season. Right now, we're doing a lot of training and just getting folks accustomed to, what we hope not to be a catastrophic fire season, but, we want to be prepared for it. So we're in line with doing that. Just FYI for the folks in the room, we were able to accomplish roughly 3,900 acres of prescribed fire. Most of these areas were piles or large, we call them BFPs, but large piles. And so we'll keep picking from there as the weather allows and before fire season comes around, because we don't want fire creeping around on us, right? And so it's just something for the group to know. We are looking at trying to contact homeowners that are adjacent to Forest Service land. So some of the stuff is landlocked around private homes. And so we are trying to figure out ways how to get to these units so we can eliminate some of the fuel in these WUI areas. So more to come on that. Our district battalions or fuels battalions have been reaching out and trying to talk to folks, especially in the Georgetown area, but we want to start trying to move into that direction. So as we get more aligned with that, then I'll have more information for the group. And then just again, our goal is to start trying to eliminate those fuels adjacent to Forest Service land. So any ideas that folks might have, if they want to come talk to us and come talk to me, that maybe we can add this into our plans. We do have more federal stipulations, I would say, that are coming up that are making it a little more difficult to go and just do work on the ground. So when folks start thinking well, why is it taking so long? Because we have all these borders, all these things that we have to accomplish before we can get into these areas, like owls or special plants or things like that. So when you start looking around and seeing, excuse me, seeing that we're not moving as fast as we would like, that's really what's holding us up. So that said, that's the end of the report for me, unless anybody have any questions.
Thank you, Jacoby. Any questions for El Dorado National Forest? Right, well, definitely appreciate the partnership, Jacoby, and I know we're sending Janet and Tamara, I think are headed your way at 1 o'clock to work on some stuff with you today, so.
Well, we needed to move that back because I needed.
Oh,
to
you
work
did,
on
okay.
Monday. So hopefully Monday works, and then hopefully we can finish up some stuff on Monday.
Oh, perfect, all right,
Thanks.
thank you. Next up, I don't see anyone from the Resource Conservation District. Am I missing? Oh, way in the back. Sorry. Let's make sure she's got a microphone. Courtney from the RCD.
RTD. Still pretty much on my space. And getting there, of course, not several different team fire safe jobs here, and very hard to get some of them diagnosed, and then out to did. So hopefully we'll be starting soon. That would be lovely. And we have some project on the side as well. So we're also going to be supporting you at the Placerville event on Saturday. We have a career fair at Markham on Friday. And then we're supporting the Garza Valley Private Whistle meeting this evening. So I'll be doing something. If you have any questions, then please answer that. Otherwise, I can get back to you.
Thank you, Courtney. Any questions for Courtney? Okay, thank you. Next up, Eric Brown, SMUD.
Good morning, Eric Brown, SMUD. Couple of updates as we've got some things that have gone on since the last meeting. We are sponsoring Ag in the Classroom activities here in El Dorado County. In addition to that, I'm also participating in those events. Last two events were at Blodgett. I think there are roughly 90 fifth graders at those two events that are local El Dorado teams, as well as some of our arborists from Sacramento came up. Spent some time sharing with kids what we do, what SMUD's all about. I actually got quite a few really good questions about the watershed and Crystal Basin from fifth graders. So that's a good thing that most folks are engaged even at that level. In addition to that, a couple of other operational activities that we have ongoing. Preaching to the choir to all of you BM experts here, but we've been doing quite a bit of fuels reduction work since 2019 on our electric transmission corridor that's north of Highway 50. That doesn't stop growing, and all of those noxious weeds and undesirable vegetation like to populate that. So working committed to those long-term treatments, and that includes work well outside our easement, 3, 4, 5, 700 feet. In some cases, working with the landowners to do targeted herbicide treatments on vegetation that we don't want back. So that's ongoing. We actually have some planned started herbicide treatments in Serrano. Starting on Monday, depending on the weather, it may end up getting pushed till Wednesday if we have rain. I'll give you a quick look of what's going on operationally. Still have one difficult landowner that we're finalizing some fuels reduction work in the Camino Apple Hill area. But the remaining 1,500 landowners, that includes Forest Service and SBI, have all been completed. To that end, we've been actually looking to share some more details with the region office of U.S. Forest Service Region 5. So we have a tentative planned field visit with the Region 5 forester, as well as local supervisor's office here at the National Forest. Spend some time up at Crystal Basin, kind of talk over some of the collaborations between the utility and the federal landowner, because outside of this little tiny footprint, the world is much different. And that collaboration and partnership between the utility and federal land manager, that includes BLM, sometimes are really constrained and really challenging. So the solutions focused team here in the El Dorado National Forest needs to be expanded across Region 5 if we want to continue to try to improve the challenges that we all face. So really trying to highlight some keystones and players and leadership here that have gotten us to where we're at right now and gotten the benefits that we have accomplished. So that's supposed to happen on June 6th. And then follow-ups to that, trying to get Region 6, so the northern part of, extreme northern part of California, Oregon and Washington, Forest Service as well, engaged to see this, because this is not a local issue. It's a challenge that all utilities and federal land managers are facing, and we've been able to crack the code, and it should be able to be duplicated all over the place. So try and create that platform for our peers and colleagues other places to kind of gain the same successes that we've gained thus far. I sent some things to Hugh and Ken. You all take a peek at it. I've got some future updates when you all think it's beneficial for the team on some kind of emerging activities between Cal OES, CAL FIRE, utilities, academia, you know, a whole new phenomenal acronym that we can share with you.
Wow, Eric, thank you. You're always like the shining example of how it works, and appreciate that. And I think echo your desire to bring this outside and get and blow up that box for others to see it. So yeah, we'll take a look at what you sent, and we would love to have something down the road where you can talk more about this. So any questions for Eric? Excellent, thank you. Okay, so Mike Webb couldn't be here today, but I can tell you from PG&E, but Mike is definitely very engaged right now with their fuels program, and we all know the challenges and struggles, you know, and Mike represents sort of the operational side, the response side, that liaison from the emergency preparedness piece. The PG&E fuels shop is in a very different place, and that leadership comes from a different place. It's, you know, San Ramon, or it's San Francisco. So it's been difficult across the PG&E service area to look at how to have a model where we can get our local folks engaged in our projects and engaged in our activities. And Mike has taken this on personally, I will tell you, to work with that other side of their program, and starting to really articulate why their folks need to be at the table with us. So all I can say, there's more to come, more discussions happening, but fingers are crossed. I'm hopeful that down the road, maybe we'll start seeing some other representation from PG&E. But again, no promises, but Mike is definitely engaged with the right people trying to make that happen. Next up, the Sheriff's Office. Oh yes, I see we have Lieutenant Schlag online. Leslie, it's all yours.
Sergeant Schlag, but I appreciate the promotion.
I was thinking Lieutenant Morton and Sergeant Schlag at the same time. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries at all. As long as the promotion comes with the raise, I'm good with it. So right
you
now,
got our vote.
In OES, we're still currently working on the hazard mitigation plan. As you all are aware, it's still moving along nicely. We're still set to meet our goals on that. Some new things got added in that's still being worked on, but it looks like it's still going to be doable for our June deadline there. Perimeter is up and running. We're now in the process of pushing that out throughout the county, trying to do a big social media push, and trying to get that information out there. But if you go to the Perimeter website, you'll be able to see some things up there that we updated during the winter storms. Nothing major, but just getting used to the technology. And then Rave, a couple new things with Rave going on. Rave is, well, the state is pushing to try to get Rave to be the only, or the primary means of evacuation in the state. That's why they're offering it free for all the counties. With that being said, that's also added, obviously, some Rave is adding some new technology into the program that looks exciting, and it looks like it's going to make evacuations even a little bit easier in the future. But that technology is still being worked on. We should have more information on that in the coming months. But needless to say, we're getting pretty excited for it, but it has a lot to do with cell phone technology and being able to hit people in areas that, like national forest land that, probably are not signed up on RAVE, but we could still reach out to them. So that's something we're looking at. Short of that, that's pretty much everything we have going on. May 18th, we have the exercise in Crystal, down off Crystal Boulevard. And then following that, we're going to have a town hall meeting at Union Mine High School gymnasium following the exercise. So we're looking forward to that. We should get some good input from that exercise and help prepare us for the upcoming fire season. End of report from OES.
Thank you. And yes, I did push out the information from Chief Lilienthal regarding the May 18th exercise. And the Sheriff's OES has been working very closely with Logtown Fire Safe Council and Union Mine High School to put the event on. And I think it's going to be more of it's a presentation style at the town hall. And so I think we'll be partnering with the Sheriff's Office and others to give some updates. So we'll have an opportunity from a Fire Safe Council perspective to be there and participate, but definitely looking forward to that. Any questions for Sheriff's OES? Great. Well, thank you as always. And again, you have our vote for the promotion. Just let us know where to send the letters.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
Okay, last up, I don't see Elizabeth here, Elizabeth Dyer from the Bureau of Reclamation. I'm just double checking the room. But she's definitely been pretty consistent in reaching out with information. It's been and again, I thank folks for helping us make the connection with her, but she definitely has been reaching out when she's got information to share.
Question.
Oh, yes, go ahead, Chris.
You and I talked before the meeting started about the tribe and how important the tribe is in terms of wildfire. They also are participating in the Union Mine High School program. That's an academy kind of thing where the kids come in for an hour before classes start. And so I understand there's at least 30 in the class typically, and it's a waiting list to get in. Can we have the tribe as a partner, or have we tried to get them to be a partner in terms of our efforts? I thought it'd be kind of interesting to get their take on it since they're doing so much work.
I think we've tried in the past, but I think this is a good opportunity maybe to circle back, Chris, and we can try that again. I agree. I'll take a look at that. Thank you. Program reports. Let's just shoot it right over to Tamara for grants and funding.
Okay, so the big push this month was getting in the California Fire Safe Council grant proposal for all of our education and outreach projects. And I think around 12 fire safe councils gave me projects with budgets up to 4,000. So thank you. Lots of creative and fun activities going on. People propose websites, lots of signage. We're going to be blanketing. If we get this grant, we're going to be blanketing with little signs. Some of you are going to be doing mailings. Some cool, that's one of the fire safe councils wants to do a demonstration retrofitted cabin and video it to show how it's done in the Forest Service track. So that was a cool project. And then also from the Council Outreach and Education Committee, doing a demo house, which maybe you can talk about your idea around that in your outreach, in your report. And then the videos. So if we get this grant, we're talking about maybe doing some economies of scale around some of the projects, particularly around the website, to see if there's a way we can do them cheaper. If we're a bunch of the fire safe councils are doing it, we should hear reasonably soon because the grant is supposed to start in June. So I'm hopeful we'll hear, in the next 6 weeks if we get the grant or not. So anyway, thank you for everybody for your thoughtful projects. I'm very hopeful we'll get funded, but you never know. We had submitted a proposal to the Women's Fund. We've gotten funding from them the last couple of years, looking at $8,000 for our defensible space program, but they declined to choose us as one of the organizations this time. We were gonna, you can only get funding 3 times in a row anyway, and so this would have been our 3rd year. We would have had to put out next year anyway, but it was a disappointment for sure. And then, and should I talk about Team Rubicon or?
Yeah, Curtis is here. That's
Court is here, and we've been coordinating with Team Rubicon, which is a group of volunteers that do work on the landscape to do defensible space or removing hazardous trees, that sort of thing. So we're coordinating with them to provide pro bono work for our defensible space program. So that would pretty drastically extend our defensible space capability. So rather than paying a contractor to do the defensible space that people apply for on their properties, we would have Rubicon do it during a 1-month resident fee in El Dorado County. So that would start, it's not, the details aren't finalized yet, but we're hopeful we're working that out, and that would start. It'll be from April 21st, is that?
April 19th through May 21st.
So we'd get a month of pretty intensive defensible space work on and clear out the backlog we have on all of these applications. So excited about that.
Thank you.
Mhm.
On Team Rubicon, so for those of you who don't know, they're an international nonprofit that essentially the United States,
Yeah, he presented.
in the world, and now they're coming here for this time period. Cord lives in El Dorado Hills, and so he's the contact. They came to the Resource Conservation District, made a presentation, and now what Tamara's talking about is after evolving with our discussion, they're coming to I believe, were you gonna team up or station? I just heard Courtney, I think, came up with a comment about on an email.
Yeah.
Yes, thanks to Courtney and the Resource Conservation District. I'm Cord Record. We will be staying in Somerset at the Pioneer Volunteer Firefighter Association Hall for that 30-day operation. They've graciously offered to let us stay there. So they're working along with the Resource Conservation District to help us with support. We'll have approximately 60 volunteers per day for the month, working in and around Grizzly Flats, Somerset, and any other local communities that we can help. But Team Rubicon's going to be here in the area. We're going to continue to provide support beyond this 30-day period. So we're looking forward to working with fire safety councils in the future.
Thanks, Cord. One more comment. Rubicon is not our Rubicon. It's in Italy. So it is an international name. It's a river in Italy.
That's Julius Caesar.
Right. The original.
Go ahead, David.
So Cord, you've got an ongoing problem with having any showers. Cord told me the latest estimate is about $25,000 for the portable showers. Is that right, Courtney?
Numbers with me today, I apologize, about $27 per shower, and another almost $4,000 for portable toilets, porta potty. We also need to consider gray water removals, which is how
I tell people. Yeah.
Oh my God.
This is what I'm trying to tell people. Straight in now. Not there.
Yeah.
Oh, straight. Sure.
$1,000. So, anyway, let's just wrap it down. Still, the communities will be benefiting, and we will be reaching out to partners for ideas and complement the time. Going to be successful with our partners. But yes, there's a money factor to it. They are coming with all of the labor, which is huge. And the insurance and certifications and safety insurance. The RCE is going to the management of that project and it was on site. So we've got a huge chunk already done, and now we just move into get that paid for. And
Thanks.
All right. That's it. All right. Thank you, Tamara. Karen.
Wanted to. I just wanted to, speak to that grant that you're talking about and thank the county for, moving forward with that. It's a great opportunity for the Associate Fire State Council to educate and engage and one comment that I wanted to make is, I don't know if it's because I'm on the executive board or what, but I saw some of the requests from the other fire state council. And really some great ideas, and I'm like, why didn't we think of that? Change our.
Next time, Karen, next time.
To going forward in the future for the associate councils to furthering, another reason why they should further engage with each other and have some intercommunication. So thank you to El Dorado County Fire State Council and for Tamara for moving forward with that. Appreciate it a lot.
Thank you, Karen. Okay, then let's move it over to assistance programs. I'll pass the mic to Jessica for an update.
Yay. Hello, everyone. Okay, well, I don't have anything to report for defensible space, unfortunately. We do have 60 pending jobs, so, they're there, they're coming in, just waiting for the go. Chipping program year-to-date numbers, we have completed 57 jobs this year, cleared 124 acres. That is about 8,924 cubic yards chipped. And we have spent roughly $27,106. For hazardous tree, we have assessed 38 parcels this year. That's not including last year. Completed 84, identified 98 new trees and successfully cut 179. Total cost so far has been $212,119. I did want to talk about community chipping events and green waste days. They're starting to come up. Community chipping events, just contact me. So far, you guys have been doing really good about that. I just need to know a date. Preferably, inform your community to be ready by a Monday, have a place for the chipper to stage their equipment for that week, and they will get it done only focused on your community for that week. If it goes over, it goes over, but they'll be there as long as all the applications are coming in. Just make sure that they fill it out before they start, if that makes sense. And preferably plan it a good, at minimum, month before the event starts. Inform me so I can set the applications aside, and it goes a lot more effectively that way. In terms of green waste days, I think there's been a lot of confusion. I just wanted to clear some things up. EDCFSC has a few chipping contractors that we contract with. If you go to them on your own, they will give you their standard hourly rate as they would anyone else. But if you go through me, they will cut you a deal that they won't give anyone else. So it's a bit imperative for you to go through me directly, because I can get you a much cheaper rate to, you know, pay for them to be there for the day of these green waste days. I can't just give you their information. What I do on my end is you tell me your budget. I go to my contractors, I see who fits what schedule and the amount, and I see who's willing to go out there for a much cheaper rate than you would get without me. If you want to go to them on your own, you're more than welcome to, but I just wanted to point that out, that this is kind of a in-house opportunity. For those of you who don't have my number, it is 530-957-6720. That is my work number, and you can contact me anytime. Thank you.
Questions?
Yes.
Give a little description what a green waste day is in terms of its definition. What is a green waste day?
So each council has a certain amount of money, grant money that they were awarded to pay for a trash receptacle for their community to come out and dump, you know, excess vegetation from their properties. It helps to have a chipper there, so then they can grind up all that vegetation and fit more into the waste bin. It's typically a 1-day thing, you know, 5-8 hour block.
Thanks.
Perfect. Thank you, Jessica. A lot of moving parts there.
Mhm.
All right, next up, Hugh, training.
I don't have anything else on the training other than what I said in my initial report, so I'll give it to Alice.
Okay, we will not question that. All right. Alice, outreach.
Except that, Kit who's doing it, who knows, she's a retired landscape architect. And then also, we did another thing you might be interested in, again, assuming the people come there. There's one probably been for the assessor classes, and that's fine, but it's going beyond the typical, just the simple stuff about the zone. One thing we'll also be talking about is social science up to that's showing why aren't people, you know, how can we reach people, things like that. Then the other thing I want to say was I just want to really thank responses. I got like responses from at least 15 the Fire Safety Council, probably more, to my question about the little demo house. So the idea is that this is going to be this little playhouse size thing that will show people exactly with real construction material what it looks like to close in eaves. There's will be like a cutaway, so here's where it's closed in, here's where it's not, here how you can do it yourself. What it looks like to put, you know, mesh wire into a vent. All the things so that people can actually see the, you know, which will then be available. I'm thinking maybe, you know, Fire State Council might be here the most. They can come and pick it up with a pickup truck, use it for their whatever the event is if they want to, and then bring it back again. So I think even if we don't get the grant, although I'm hoping we do, it might be something. There was a lot of positive interest in this. A couple of Fire State Council said no, but mostly it was like, yes, please. And yes, definitely. And so if there's people here who have construction background and are interested in creating such a little house, please let me know. And we'll wait first to see if we get the grant, and if we don't, once they want to pursue. And then also appreciate all the responses on the possible backdoor to the website. So that was a lot of responses too. Thank you. Then we will be at the Placerville event, and got a couple of volunteers here that are volunteered to do that. If anybody else would like to help, do you know yet whether we need to get more people?
We're gonna need somebody because I can't be there till noon.
Okay. So if there is like maybe just one more person who could be added, that'd be great. Let me know.
You're talking about the table, right?
Yeah, but we have this big home hard meeting extravaganza, 2 tables plus I set it up. You don't have to set anything, I can show up and talk to people. It starts at 9. Yes. That'd be great.
I'm not saying anything.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Sounded like it was okay to me.
Always dangerous.
Yeah, don't even say it.
Here to organize it. If anybody else does, the Fire Safety Council is all behind you and supporting you, but just knows I'm not gonna be, organizing that this time, and same thing, I had wanted to do Kids Expo, but I just don't have the time. So if anybody's interested in organizing with one of those, I'm happy to support you on that. And only other thing I just wanted to mention was, there's been some new fire safety councils and new leadership within fire safety councils. And so people may not realize that are newer, that we have this whole room that's got a bunch of stuff in it, including kids' games, including display materials, including, easels, lots of stuff there. And so if you're new to this and didn't know about that, I'm happy to take you there and show you kind of some of the stuff there. And anytime you want to borrow it, I can, the first time especially, I can meet you there and make sure you get the supplies and understand how to use, especially with kids' games. So just letting people know that I found out that people had no idea it was there, so.
Thank you, Alice. You,
No, I just want to add one more thing to the training thing, that the workshop that's coming up after the next meeting. As someone, I kind of played this game for a while, but I'm gonna make sure I wanna be there, because as I go out and do assessments, and I may be preaching to the choir here, you may have already done this, but as I go out and do my assessments, I get a lot of questions from the homeowners, as I'm sure the rest of you do. And I think it's gonna be very helpful to get as much information as I can about the landscape, how to re-landscape and do the kind of things to make your property more fire safe. As people ask me questions, this information I think we'll get from Kit and from Alice will be very helpful as we do that. So I really encourage you, if you can at all fit the time in, really try to make that. It's just a couple hours after the meeting. So anyway, that's all I want to say about that.
Thank you. One other thing I really need to end.
Well, that's gonna be up to you and Kit. I mean, because we never know how much stuff Chris and David and those guys want to see. So,
well, I think what's important is hey, Alice, I think what's important is events are being calendared and scheduled, though it's tough some people don't make it to the meeting, but want to come to so you've got to sort of have a time certain, I think, to make sure you're taking care of those folks.
So that is what I like.
I think one is appropriate. Yeah, let's do that. All right, great. Lots going on there too. And again, thank you, Alice, for always championing that. Next up, Karen, new governance committee, new council formation.
Nope.
Okay, no, Karen has nothing to report on new council formation orientation. Next up, project reports, David Zielinski so far, and wrap. We'll wrap those together.
Yeah, I got both rack and brass. The SOCAR, Southwest American River Basin Strategy Group is a national forest collaborative. Everyone's welcome to this convention. We just had a whole landscape national forest meeting earlier this month, but on April 25th at 11 o'clock, we're gonna have a biomass meeting, for us if you want to be there, or make sure the George Chamber's office or something. So that'd be April 25th at 11 o'clock by Zoom. And then at 1 o'clock, we have the landscape vision, meeting. So that's that.
What time was that? 25?
April 25th, 11 o'clock, I think, biomass.
Okay.
11 o'clock is
It's usually an hour, right?
Yeah, unless you and I.
Yeah.
The Research Advisory Committee, I don't think we've met for a year now. We're all gonna have our terms still up. We can't get anything done because the United States Secretary of Agriculture has to sign a piece of paper approving all the nominees that have been waiting a year to be appointed to the committee. Some of them phoned them up. I don't know how to get this done. We were seeing $100,000. And some of that is things like meadow restoration, which can help with our whole resilient landscape.
Yeah.
So if you have any connections with the United States Secretary of Agriculture, shaking.
Just Congressman McClintock's office and also the state senator can help with that. They help the Cameron Park. So Congressman McClintock and your U.S. state senators can help with that. We had an issue with the Greater Cameron Park Fire Safety Council a couple of years ago, and Tom McClintock got it to the director of
of the Department of Interior and got taken care of.
Say who you are.
Oh, Paul, field dress.
I don't. Yeah, thank you, Paul. I'm everybody Greg Holt in the Quintox office.
There you go.
Anyways, it's been very frustrating. The wrap, so there's a charity called United Policyholders, and they work very closely with the insurance commissioner's office. Ken Pimlott was very pleased to see that Napa County is as smart as we are, and they have one fire coordinator for the county also, a different title, but anyway, they went with like Kim was thinking of, and they're doing it there. And us, in our conversation, yes, there's a lot of controversy over 0 to 5 feet. And I think, you know, the people are arguing back and forth. I think that, you know, the fire people, nothing's growing between the 0 to 5 feet. Well, you know, nothing, holding themselves. However, whatever you want to say. But that's an ongoing, but that's the 0 to 5 feet. You got scope beyond that. I think I'll stop there and leave it over to Chris.
Thank you, David.
So my item is the county biomass working group. I rely on Greg Stanton. He's the county person that has been working in behalf of El Dorado County. And so this is what he gave me just an hour or so ago. The USDA Rural Business Development Grant app was submitted on time last month. If awarded, the grant will fund a contract with EcoStrat to conduct a bioeconomy development opportunities zone evaluation of El Dorado County, and will issue a report and rating, AA, BDB, etc. The report and the BDC zone rating provides bioeconomy based on investors and developers' assurance that El Dorado County is a good place to invest and develop projects. We should know if El Dorado County gets the grant by early midsummer. Next project. The Moat Hydrogen project is still viable. We're working on freight rail connectivity from El Dorado County to Sacramento, meaning that we have rail that's there. Question is, how much does it need to be upgraded for the weights that you might have in terms of the movement of the product? Considering the Wetzel Oviatt plant area just south of the El Dorado Hills Business Park. The cap-to-cap team includes Supervisor Thomas and Parlin, will be advocating in the District of Columbia next month for the bioenergy project funding in El Dorado County. Then I asked him, is the Gold Seal Industries Grizzly Flat project going to happen? He says, yes, deployment should occur in 2024, likely by the end of Q3, or number 3. This is a demonstration project within the Caldor footprint. Emissions will be monitored by the area Air Quality Management District. I'm not sure whether the first mobile unit will be placed in Grizzly Flat, and that's the end of his report. Just to let you know, there's been pushback most recently on social media about these biomass cogeneration projects. People are saying we don't want them. It's going to ruin our air quality. We don't think they're necessary. These people have no clue about technology, filtering, containment. They're just stating as if the plant was right next to their house and it's just spewing air quality problems, particulate and other things. So I'm just saying, be careful when you read something. These projects are critically important to El Dorado County, and I'll continue to report on a month-to-month basis. Thank you, Ken.
Thank you, Chris. Ernie has a comment.
Ernie Laurie, Grizzly Flat Fire Safe Council. I've got a comment, Chris. I know for a fact a large number in the El Dorado, in the Grizzly Flat community, landowners do not want a biomass and sawmill in the community. We've had no public input until last year. Wow.
My comment is that's valid. And that's the kind of stuff that's been going on, social media. There is no plan that I know of for any permanent sawmill in Grizzly Flats. As people have said, they believe that there is one coming. I'm just reporting on what I know to be the case. The Gold Seal Industry plant is a portable plant. It's trailered in elements. It's put together and it can be taken apart and moved to wherever we need it. So that's my report. I do not know any permanent sawmill type product or a project for Grizzly Flats.
Okay, well, thank you for the information. We'll post it just as that. And Ernie, thank you for your thoughts and comments. Next up, we're at community council reports. This is an opportunity for councils to share what's happening in your community, what's going on around the Associate Council Network. See, Tamara, start there.
Okay, this is my Georgetown Divide chairperson hat. Fuel treatment projects planning meeting tonight. At 6:30 at the Marshall Grange. Anybody who's interested in attending, we'll be presenting potential projects for the Garden Valley area and inviting community feedback. Hopefully this will help inform our process for doing this, across the county. But for us, it's part of a grant that we got to inform our projects in that area. So you're all invited. There's a potluck from 6 to 6:30. It's the Grange and they do potluck. And then 6:30 to 8 is the meeting at Marshall Grange in Garden Valley.
Great, thank you. Others looking around, David.
In case you didn't hear, there's a other than 93 off Saturday, and the tribe will be there unless they get rained out. I don't know if it will be raining. It should be. Where is it, David? Oh, thank you. Midtown Mall, 681 Main Street.
Thank you, David. Alice.
So Oak Hill area, we had our annual community day and we did it again in March. Once again, we had sun, which was great. I want to thank Gary Bowl here and John Hess, who actually came for the radio people, and really engaged with people there, and also we yes, they were there talking to people about perimeter. Was nice. Another thing was the Sierra Wildlife Rescue came, and their message is very similar to ours. There are no gaps on the wall, no plants right next to your house, and so they were a real magnet. People absolutely loved having them there, and they were there with volunteers. And then I want to talk about a little show and tell here, 3 things that I felt were successes for this event that some of you might be interested in. And one of them is this back here. So we have these big charts where people can write down what they had done in the last year. And we've done this now for a couple of years, and people really get into this. And they put down, they describe what they've done. They talk about the cash they spent, the hours they spent. We have one for home hardening and one for this. And then when we were done, we actually picked names and gave some prizes. Simple things from caulking for their house to one of them won a green waste dumpster in their neighborhood. So we're gonna have a green waste day now to be in their neighborhood, even though anybody in fire thing comes to use it is right there in their neighborhood. So when we totaled this all up, when we were done, we were amazed at our little rural area, with our 800 homes. This represents $250,000 worth of work that these people have done the last year, and 1,400 hours worth of work they've done themselves. And so what that does is it inspires other people as they see, wow, this is what they did this, and people will kind of look at it. And it inspired us as volunteers to realize that people are doing something. This is really exciting. So I'm even thinking of possibly bringing this to the fair, at least for the home hardening. We may have one for home hardening at ours. I was just talking about that. Anyway, so that's one thing. Another thing we had that was fun was we had an ember hunt for kids. So they got a little blue water bucket. And then out there were 50 of these embers. And they had to run around and find all the embers and put them in their bag, and then they turn them in for candy. This was, the kids loved it. The volunteers had fun. Putting the embers out. It's a fun thing. And then lastly, one thing we did that was kind of interesting, I put this out on the table, insurance issues. And I felt like Lucy, you know, in the Peanuts cartoon, sense like that. So people could come and vent it. And so I was the one at this table, they could vent and tell me all about this. What was valuable about it was I learned a lot about their insurance experience too. But I know some stuff, you know, I try to keep up on it as much as I can with the website, including the co-operator, which has an updated one there. But hearing people's experience, and I could show them, well, here's what the Cal Fire Safe Plan checklist looked like. Here's what these other insurance checklists like. There's no nuances here. There's just a checklist. And I learned from other people too what was going on with them. So this was actually really cool. So I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Alice. Okay, any others? Okay, not seeing any more in the room or online. Public comment, any other comments? Oh, Chris.
Public comment. We talked about, insurance, Alice just talked about it, at her event. Monday, 7:30 at Denny's. Breakfast with Taxpayers Association of El Dorado County. We also Zoom, on Facebook and also, YouTube or whatever eventually, so we record it and then we run it again. It's gonna be Mary Beth Lykowski, who's from the insurance department, California Department of Insurance. She's their analyst and she's their outreach person, and she's gonna speak on insurance.
All right, thank you, Chris. Yes. Ken, can we just get kind of microphone? Thank you.
Ken Rogers, Mary Beth, we met her. Thank you. I didn't get a chance to report on our time. We're working with the OES on getting purchase bills. Christie, who are in, we were working with, Serial to, support that. It was important to, you know,
Thank you, Ken. Sorry, I missed you there. Any other comment? All right, seeing and hearing none. Thank you, everyone, for, again, a great meeting. We are 11:34. So with that, meeting is adjourned. Next meeting, April 17th, right here. Have a great day.
You already?
No.
Getting a camera.